everyone, it's Samantha, and today I'm going to talk to you about meal planning and how I pick recipes and how I plan my grocery shopping list. We go grocery shopping one time a week, usually on Saturday, unless we have something going on Saturday that's going to prevent us from going on Saturday. Then I'll just go on either Sunday or Monday, and I try to be pretty consistent about going so that I buy enough for the week and I don't have to have a lot of stops in between the week. I've gotten pretty good at making my list and sticking to a meal plan of some sort so that we don't have a lot of waste. I guess that's my number one thing. I don't like to waste food. I do end up wasting more food now that I'm pregnant because I get these cravings and then I end up not feeling like it later. So I'm very moody when it comes to food now, as opposed to not being pregnant. I definitely stuck to my meal plans better. Having the meal plan helps me prevent more waste of food, and it helps me also not buy way too much stuff. Without a meal plan or a shopping list, I do tend to buy way too much food. And we do have a pantry full of like dry, boxed, canned type of things that doesn't go bad immediately, but I really have to be careful with produce and stuff because it does go bad quickly. I don't want to buy too much of that. With that said, I'm going to show you how I meal plan here. It's Friday morning, so I usually do my planning on Friday and then we go on Saturday. So I'll look up my list to make sure everything's good on Saturday morning before we go. That's usually my schedule for things. So let me show you the process. To get started, I have a couple of little notebooks here, and I also have my laptop here with Pinterest pulled up. So this first little notebook I got in the dollar spot at Target, and it's just really easy because it says week of and then Monday through Sunday on here. So this is what I use to actually like plan out the days of the week meals. Before I found this at the dollar spot, I was just using a piece of notebook paper or just one of these pieces here. You don't have to have something specific, but it was only $1 and I thought it would be perfect for meal planning. So I've been using this ever since I got it. I really like that. It just makes it a little easy and it's cute. I love anything with polka dots. And then these two are just like some sheets of paper that I use for shopping lists. This is one of those dollar lists. I probably got this at Michael's or the dollar spot or something where they just have these pads of paper for $1. So I have a couple of other ones when I run out of these, but I try to use them up and then move on to the next one. And it's super duper cheap, super easy. It's nice list form. And then when I go grocery shopping, I do take that shopping list with me, and I have one of these little teeny tiny clipboards. So it fits perfectly on the clipboard, and then I can just check things off as I go in the store. So that's how I kind of navigate everything, make sure I have everything written down. If I do not write it down and I do not plan it out, I will forget, and I definitely cannot be one of those people that just goes to the grocery store without a list and gets everything they need. Even if I'm just running in for like 5 things, I tend to write them down because knowing me, I'll get 4 of the items and then have to go back to the grocery store. So this saves me so much frustration, just sticking to planning out my meals, writing down the things we need. So the first step is, since it's Friday, I've got 3 more meals of the week, and I have my list from this last week here. I don't usually fill out the week of, it's just, you know, whatever week it currently is. So I circled the 3 meals I actually have left. I like to jump around with my meal plan. I use it more like a list than an actual, like Monday I have to make this, Tuesday I have to make this. I just decide to cook whatever I feel like cooking, or if my husband's wanting a certain meal, I will definitely put that ahead of the list. So I circled the 3 I have left. Those will be for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I look over my list. If we changed anything around or didn't have something this week, then I bring it to the next week. Like this shrimp veggie pasta, we didn't use the we haven't used the shrimp at all so far. So I'll have 1 serving of shrimp left since I got 2 servings of shrimp when we went to the store. I went ahead and brought that over to my next list. And then I have some meat in the freezer. So I just write out the meat that I have in the freezer ready to go. So I've got a chicken thigh for my husband. That night I will go vegetarian. And then chicken wings, I have a big pack of those left in the freezer, so I'll have chicken wings that night. I don't really like chicken thighs or chicken legs, but I do like chicken wings. So that'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, and then we'll move on to this next week. So I already have like the skeleton of my meal plans. Something's gonna have shrimp. I'll do a baked chicken thigh, and it's always with veggies. And then the chicken wings, I will probably do veggies and French fries with that. We've got some French fries left. And they were actually really good in the oven. If you watch my grocery hauls, I got this pack of French fries to put in the oven, and we used half of the bag, and they were really good. So I'll use the other half there, so that's not an ingredient I have to buy. One day a week we do have a date night and we go out to eat, so I just always put that down as Friday or Saturday. It really depends on what we want to do, so we do change that around, of course. And then that leaves 1, 2, 3 other days. And then I sit here and I think, what would I like to have? If there's something that my husband really likes to have, I'll put that in there. And if I can think of something I'm really in the mood for, I'll put those in here in those spots. Since it's fall and it's been nice weather, I really like to have some sort of stew or chowder or something on the weekend. So I'm thinking we'll do beef stew. That sounds really good to me. So I'm just gonna put beef stew here. That's one. My husband has been craving fajitas, so I think I'll do fajitas one night. He really wants me to make steak fajitas. So it's just cut up pieces of steak and lots of veggies, and we make the homemade tortillas. So he hinted at that this week, that we haven't made that in a while, so I'm gonna make that. I'll just write steak fajitas. And then we have one left. So for this one, I think I'm gonna try to come up with something new. So I'm gonna check Pinterest, find a recipe on here that I want to make. And I just, have Pinterest pulled up on my laptop. And then I go to any of my boards. I have tons of recipes already saved on here. And I gotta see what I feel like making. And same with this shrimp. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this shrimp. So here's my board. It's called Food Meat Dishes. So here is a recipe. It's skinny bang bang shrimp, so that actually sounds really good. So I'll go ahead and use that. That's super easy. And I've already got the chili sauce in the fridge. So I think with the bang bang shrimp, you mix chili sauce with mayonnaise, but I'm pretty sure. So I'm just gonna write bang bang. And that's a knockoff recipe from Bonefish Grill. So I always loved that. We don't actually have a Bonefish Grill anywhere near us. So that's one recipe. And for the other recipe, I'm going to go to my board that's called Veggie Heavy Dishes. Sometimes the recipes in here don't have any meat at all. Sometimes they have a little bit of meat. I'm just gonna go through, see if I can find something good. Well, there's one. It's pancetta wrapped asparagus, but I actually have about a half a pack of bacon that's in the fridge right now. So I'll have to do this earlier in the week. I don't like the bacon sitting in the fridge very long, so I'll do bacon wrapped asparagus. So that completes my meal plan for the week. Any day that it's just like this, where it says shrimp, it always is just assumed we're gonna have some veggie sides with that, and maybe a side of rice. It just depends on how many veggie sides I want to cook. Sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do 3, sometimes I only do 1. But we generally always have veggies with no matter what we have. So even if I don't write veggies, it's understood I'm going to cook some sort of veggie. I do have a good supply of dried beans, chickpeas, canned green beans, canned tomatoes, all that kind of stuff. I keep my pantry pretty stocked so that when I want to, grab a can for something, I can. And I don't necessarily have to always use fresh. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this list because it's lighter and hopefully you can see it a little bit better. So now what I do is I generally go look in my pantry and see what staple items are missing. Sometimes I just know off the top of my head what staple items we're getting low on. So I definitely need some butter spread. I used it all up. And I'm gonna be doing some baking today, so I need some regular butter. We're low on milk and bread. We're good on peanut butter. We do need some more green beans. And I think that pretty much covers all of the basics. I will double check and make sure I get all the basics down. I don't want to forget some sort of staple item that we use all the time. And then I think about what I want for lunch this week. I've got a couple of cans of soup, a couple of cans of mini raviolis, and I have been just still loving that kale and spinach soup. And I will have a recipe for that coming up soon. By the time this video goes up, I don't know if it'll be up, but I will link it down below if it's available. And if not, you'll just have to be watching for that. I'm gonna need a few items for that. I'm gonna need broth, and I just get whatever, the chicken broth or the veggie broth, whatever's cheaper or on sale or I feel like getting at the time. I'm gonna need some kale. I've got red potatoes. I need some cauliflower. And I need some spinach. And that's all I need for that soup, so I will have that the rest of my lunch days. I also want to get a loaf of French bread because when my friend came over, we had the spinach and kale soup and she brought a loaf of French bread and it was so good with the soup. So that covers my lunches. For lunches, my husband has either a peanut butter sandwich or whatever leftovers we have. So I try to make an extra serving. Like when I'll have a chicken thigh, I'll cook 2 chicken thighs and he'll take the leftover veggies and the chicken thigh for lunch. So I try to make sure there's like 3 servings of stuff. If there's an additional serving, then I'll have that for lunch. So we make sure we try to eat our leftovers. After I go through the lunches, make sure I got everything for lunch, I go down this list and say, what supplies do I need for each of these meals? So I'll start with the bang bang shrimp. I'm totally covered with that. I've got the shrimp in the freezer, I've got the chili sauce in the fridge, and also I've got mayonnaise. And actually I'm going to be using a lot of mayonnaise, so I'm going to go ahead and write mayonnaise on here too. And then I'll need a veggie for that. So on my list here, I'll just mark 1, because I'll need some veggies. And then I've got the chicken thigh in the freezer, and again, I need some veggies, so I'll mark another one. Steak fajitas, we're going to need a steak. I've got all the supplies to make the tortillas. We'll need some green peppers and we'll need an onion. I'll just write onions. I'll just get a few at a time. They last in the fridge really long. And then for chicken wings, those are in the freezer. We need some more veggies for that. We already have the French fries, so that's covered. Out to eat's covered. So for beef stew, I'm going to need some beef, and I'll either get some beef stew chunks, I'll get an extra piece of steak for that, or I'll get some ground beef. And generally I do anything but the ground beef because my husband doesn't like it as much with ground beef. So I'll just write beef on here for that and I'll know what that means. And as far as veggies for that, I'll use some potatoes, some green beans, some carrots, and I know I'm getting low on carrots, so I'll write carrots on here. Onion, we'll have plenty of onions for that. I think that covers it for that. It's just super simple. For the bacon wrap asparagus, I've got the bacon, I need asparagus. And since a veggie is the main part of this dish, I'll probably put it with rice, and we've got plenty of rice and stuff. So that covers picking out all the supplies we need for the meal plan. And then I think about things we want for snacks. So with the carrots, I'll probably get carrots plus baby carrots for this. I'll just write it in here. I also want a couple of cucumbers because I've been loving snacking on those. And my husband's going to need apples. He's going to need some more granola bars. And then we're going to need some more cashews. We're out of those. We've been out for a couple of days. So we've also got stuff to make caramel apples. We didn't make hardly any this week. I know we'll make some on the weekend. We've got popcorn. Got crackers and all sorts of things. So that'll probably be it as far as what other snacks we need. And my last step is to think of if I want to bake something special for this week. Since I'm baking so much today for this potluck, I probably won't bake any special recipes, but I do have a box of Chex. I'll probably make Muddy Buddies. So that'll be an easy thing to make this week. And then I have up here, I'll need veggies with 3 meals that aren't already planned out. So like the fajitas, I already planned to make green peppers with those, but I have 3 meals up here marked that I'm gonna need more veggies. So that's when I'll grab like broccoli, the shredded carrots, anything that looks good. Maybe stuff to make a salad, maybe extra green peppers so I can saute some green peppers, yellow squash for me, but my husband doesn't particularly like yellow squash. So that's just where I go to the store, look at what looks good, and pick out 3 dinners worth of veggies. So I just do that to keep track and make sure I'm not getting way too many veggies. And like I said, these veggies down here are for snacks. So that's pretty much my plan. And we do get some extra things here and there. Usually he'll pick out a treat and I'll pick out a treat. So the only thing I have left to do is I have to look in the pantry and see what's missing, if we need any more like extra stuff besides these items up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. I looked in the freezer, I realized I was out of breakfast stuff. I totally forgot to write down breakfast stuff. I've got sausage and waffles on here, and then frozen biscuits. We've got a few left, but we'll use them this weekend. And then I also thought I'll make some guacamole this week for me to snack on. So I wrote avocados and tortilla chips on there. I do have a few bags to take to the potluck, but I'm not sure we're gonna have enough left after the potluck. So I'm just gonna get another bag just in case. And then the last thing I do is go shopping, so I'm ready for the week. I'll give it a final look over, make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and make sure we don't run out of anything. I'll probably end up going shopping this Sunday instead of Saturday since we have the potluck. I do want to talk about couponing and sale prices a little bit because you can really save some money if you coupon and look at the sale prices. But I have found when I coupon, I got a lot more boxed stuff and not nearly as many vegetables because you don't really get coupons for produce and stuff. So I really just like to stick to my produce. Get a lot of produce, a lot of veggies, and just skip the couponing altogether. I felt like it was a lot more effort than what it would save me personally since we don't use a lot of boxed stuff. And I felt like we ate a lot worse when I was trying to coupon. So I do not coupon. I have no intention of couponing anytime soon. I also do look at the produce sales because they do have really good sales on some produce here and there. And that's what I'll get for those things that I just made a tick mark on my paper. If there's something that's on sale that looks good, that's what I'll get for those things. If they have things like fruit on sale, I will get some whatever fruit it is if it looks good. I spend most of our grocery time in the produce section and just shop around that section, and I do my impulse buys from that section too. So sometimes I do end up with more things that aren't on my list just because the produce looks so good that day or something's really good price. I will stock up and we will end up with extra produce. And then I'll just use whatever produce is left. I'll cut it up and freeze it if need be. I really try hard not to waste very much of that stuff. And that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you a little bit of idea on how I do things. I've seen mentioned on here a lot of people wish they meal planned and wish they planned out things a little bit better. So I'm giving you all of my ideas. Hopefully you can incorporate some of those and then you can meal plan. I have definitely found it's a sanity saver for me. I don't have to run to the grocery store for randomness throughout the week because I do my planning ahead of time. And as you saw, it took me like what, 20-25 minutes at the most to go through everything and get a meal plan ready and get a shopping list ready. So it really doesn't take much time, but it saves me a lot of time and effort during the week with all those extra grocery runs or the panics at 5 o'clock when I'm thinking, what am I gonna cook? So this really prevents a lot of that stuff and it makes things super smooth sailing for me. So I hope you guys liked it. Please give it a thumbs up if you like videos like this, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. We're actually gonna probably have some leftovers. We're gonna have, let's see, can't talk. And like, and we, let's see. So I've got sausage, waffles, Maya! I don't go to the grocery